Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Albany County August Honor of Veterans Ceremony. I am Michael Lally, the Director of Civil Service for Albany County, and it's my privilege to host today's ceremony. As a veteran, it means so much to me that the county executive and everyone here has taken the time to remember the veterans who have gone before us.
We ask God to watch over the Gamache family as well as all of our veterans and their families. Remind us always that freedom, peace, and possibility can and will triumph now and forever as we remain one nation under God.
It's an honor to be here to give you the certificate, but I do want to thank everyone that's here, this post, that's been a great foundation, City Cohoes, and all the elected officials, but the people, because it's always about the people. And to Mike McNulty and them for starting this, because it's an honor to sit here to recognize one service, because they do have the right to come home and live a quiet life. I'm not looking to my left. To live a quiet, you not either now. To live a quiet life and, to come back and just live, right? And they come back, and if you notice one thing I've seen with veterans time and time again, men and women that have served their country, they always come back and continue to give more, and they don't bellyache. They just do it. They might get mad, they might get upset, but when everyone else is arguing why we should do something or how come this wasn't done, they quietly just go off and get it done. And they're not looking for the medals, they're not looking for the pat on the back. They do it because they want to give back to their community. They serve not only the United States of America, but they serve their community. And I like to end on this note when I would like to remind everyone, for a country with about 335 million Americans in it, less than 1% puts that uniform on. 1% defends your freedoms, your rights, to believe in whoever you want to believe in, to worship whoever you want to worship, to agree to disagree, is because men and women have donned that uniform and continue to fight. Whether you agree with war, don't agree with war, or don't agree with the service, they're the ones that give you the right to do that. So if anyone takes any, when I watch these kids protest, I'm just like, okay, I get it. You're making a point, but also remember this: you couldn't make that point without a service member, okay? And you couldn't do that in any other country but this country.
I think a lot of the time for younger generations, they can look back on a life of service and be in awe of it, because there's so much there. But for someone to start at such a young age, doing extraordinary things, as George did, it's quite remarkable.
I can't tell you in my lifetime, and I've been here hundreds of times for a variety of different functions and events, always come through that area in the bar and George is around. He's here. He's a part of it. And Dan and Jake both referenced it, but it's also something that bears worth repeating. There's a reason why we have important organizations like the American Legion.
Congressman Tonko wanted to make sure that we appropriately recognize his service. So in recognition of his military service, Congressman Tonko requested that a flag be flown over our nation's capital, the very capital that represents the democracy and the freedoms that come with it, which George fought so hard for, I'm sure. And we're proud to present that flag today to the family. So again, on behalf of Congressman Tonko and on behalf of a grateful Congress of the United States, please accept this flag as a recognition of George's service.
It is my honor and my privilege to be here with you this morning and to say thank you, because anyone who dons the uniform for our country dons that uniform for each and every one of us. And when they come back, they continue to give to their community, and that benefits all of us. And so I want to thank you for sharing this moment with us.
It is, soldiers first, living the Army values, and if you've been around the Army for a minute, Senator Ashby, we're about being all you can be. At the end, being all you can be. Not with that fancy jingle that was in the late 70s or early 80s, but just reading the brief bio, because I do go online and do my little research, is that George was trying to be all he can be, not only for himself, his family, but also the community here in Cohoes. And so on behalf of Water Fleet Arsenal, the workforce that's there, the United States Army that stands ready to defend freedom and democracy across the world and ready to win tonight, we have a small token of our appreciation to your family. And every time you drive, because 787 goes through Cohoes, right? It shares with Water Fleet. and you see that American flag fly high, lit at night, know that George is part of that as well, and he has a home at Watervliet Arsenal. So thank you.
I'm Mike Gamache, George's oldest son. I want to thank everyone for coming here this morning. It says a lot, having a lot of friends and family here to honor him. Growing up, my dad never really said a whole lot. He was always kind of quiet, just always would listen. He was like the little engine that could. Hardest working man I've ever met. Never complained once a day in his life. Would walk 2.5 miles to the garden way and never complained. Snow, rain, would get laid off at another job, had to keep providing for his family. Can't really appreciate the sacrifices a family makes until you become a parent yourself. So with that, I want to thank Dawn, her family, for accepting my dad, making him a better man, and for giving us many more years we've had with him. So my family and I will always be grateful for you and your family for accepting him. And lastly, I'd like to say to everyone here that has mom, dad, reach out, put a phone call out, thank your parents for all their sacrifices. 5 years ago, I stopped by to see my dad. Dawn was working, and I said, Dad, I want to, have a conversation with you. So he turned the TV down. I said, listen, this is a long time coming, and I wanted to say how much I appreciate all your sacrifices your whole life. And he just teared up a little bit. He said, he just said thank you. And I knew it meant a lot to him. So, like I said, reach out, thank your parents. You can't really appreciate that until you become one. So, thank you all for coming. Thank you.
George Anthony Gamache. When George was discharged from the Army more than 57 years ago, he weighed in at 121 pounds and measured up at 5'9". When he left us a few short months ago, his physical stature, impacted by his long-term struggle with his debilitating health issues, was just about the same, if not even more diminished. George, however, was a classic example of the fact that we do not measure people, men, women, and children, soldiers and veterans, only by noting their height, weight, and physical characteristics. Rather, we more honestly and accurately evaluate them on the basis of their moral and ethical commitment to themselves, their family, friends, and community. Over the course of his more than 40 years of exemplary service to our ET Wayne Post 476, George characteristically responded to the needs of the post with intense dedication and unsurpassed determination. He was truly a spark plug, a solid source of internal combustion in the face of every challenge confronting the Wayne Post. It would be a serious oversight for his friends and fellow Legion members not to pause in both recognition and appreciation for the immense contributions George made to promote true fraternity and fellowship in the endeavors of the Wayne Post to serve the interest of our community, state, and nation. His subtle sense of sarcasm will truly be missed because of genuine fellowship it promoted. Although George was Army, fair winds and following seas.